What's up, everybody? It is your boy Baddog, and yes, you don't need to adjust your screens. You don't need to worry about what's going on there. That is the correct title. It is Victory Monday. We haven't had one of these in a long time. Going into last week, we had lost 17 to 20 games here, and I believe they lost 13 to 14 or whatever it was, just something absolutely insane. Just not a good football team. But yesterday, we were able to come away with the victory, which was much needed. Obviously, Jackson Dart did what he had to do. I felt like that opening drive was absolutely just so important. 9 plays, 89 yards. He capped it off with a 15-yard touchdown run. The Giants were on their way. But before we get into, what's the victory stream and your questions and chat and all that stuff. Obviously, the news came out today that John Mara was diagnosed with cancer. Now, for those of you who follow me on YouTube or whatever, you look at my community posts. I had a video that I had scheduled to run at 3 o'clock today, and I'm glad that I waited that long. Normally, I do them like 12:30, 1 o'clock, but like an hour before that was ready to run, it came out that he was diagnosed with cancer. And I thought it would have been in really poor taste for me to run the video because it's not like it was very nice to either him nor Woody Johnson, the owners, of MetLife Stadium with the Malik Nabers injury and this constant issue with the turf. So I scratched it. I'm not going to run that video because, again, it would have been in poor taste to do that after that diagnosis came out. It's funny because as fans, as human beings, when you're emotional, when you're mad, or whatever it is, a lot of times you say things you don't mean. You go back and you reflect on it, like, shit, I should have said that. I always feel like that's what really makes my post games what they are, is that it's always just raw emotion. It's right after the game and it's raw emotion. I want to get it out there. I want to let you know how I'm feeling as a fan, whether it's good or bad. And most of the time it's bad. But that's what I feel like makes them good. They're genuine emotion. And that's why I always do the game, the video Monday afternoon, because I have time to reflect and I have time to relax and I have time to look it over and talk about stuff. And I still might say some pretty harsh things because this organization kind of deserves it. But like I said, man, when you look back at things and you hear about somebody being diagnosed with cancer, you realize there's a lot more to life than football. I mean, football, at the end of the day, we all love it. We're all passionate about it. It's a big part of our lives. No question about it, but it's not the end all be all. The Giants are not paying our bills. We will never meet any of these people that play for the Giants. And if we do, they're not going to remember us anyway. So, there's a lot more to life and things like that kind of humble you, make you step back and reflect a little bit and say, well, you know what, like I said, there would be no reason for me to release that video. I will forego the 15 to 18,000 views on that video, and I'll talk about it in a different way at some point with the turf. But the turf definitely needs to be fixed. So that's no question about it. It claimed Malik Nabers. It was confirmed today he has a torn ACL. So even in victory, we kind of couldn't enjoy it 100%. A speedy recovery. That absolutely sucks for Malik Nabers. You get Jackson Dart out there. You're excited for the future. You take a look at some of these young guys. Take a look at Jackson Dart. Obviously, Cam Scatteroo has become a big-time fan favorite. We love Scat. Malik Nabers is one of the best receivers in football already, so that is a devastating blow to this organization. There is no replacing Malik Nabers. Obviously, on Twitter, there's a lot of talk about trading for a receiver, signing a receiver. I wouldn't trade anybody. I mean, I'm not giving up any draft capital for a wide receiver. We're still not going anywhere this year. We won a game. We're 1-3. We should be able to beat the Saints, but the Saints have been competitive with every team. We've always struggled there. We could lose that game. Then, you have Philly at Denver at Philly. Probably looking at 3 losses there. What are you going to be 1-7? Why would you trade draft capital for a wide receiver if you're not really considered a contender? And I don't think we're a contender. The win was great, but let's be honest. Let's look what this team is. We're a team that's 1-3. So it's much different. If you're going to sign somebody, then sign them. But we don't have a second round pick. We gave that up to get Jackson Dart. So we don't have a second round pick in 2026. So I'd probably, unless you're getting something for a late draft pick, like if the Giants could go out and get a Jacoby Myers for a 6th round pick, like something like that. Okay, I'm fine with that. I can deal with that, but I'm not giving up, like a 3rd round pick, or I'm not giving up like a 3rd and a 4th, or 2/3. I'm not going to do that. Not for a receiver. So if you get somebody for the back end of the draft, that's fine. I can deal with that. But, a lot of good things. And as a guy that does this, I'm obviously I'm fair with this team. I'm fair with the players. I'm fair with the coaches. When they suck, man, I call them out. And you know what? Most of the time they suck. But when they're good or they do good things, I give them credit. And I got to give Shane Bowen some credit here. And it's funny because I put that on Twitter and some asshole just, sits. I said, this is all I said. Shane Bowen learned from his mistakes in Dallas, and the defense has played their best defense of the year. And from that, this clown on Twitter got, the Giants, you said the Giants played great against Kansas City. I never said that. They're like, you said you wanted to fire Shane Bowen, now you want to keep him. I never said that either. I never said anything of the sort. I swear to God, the first thing he said is, revisionist history is crazy. And that's not revisionist history. He doesn't know what the hell revisionist history means. Going back and talking about Daniel Jones and that they shouldn't have signed him to the deal, that's revisionist history. But saying that since a game, he's done a better job, that is not revisionist history. That's talking about they've been better since he made the mistake. There's nothing to do with revisionist history. So he got that from my comment. He got that I said they were great against the Chiefs. I never said they were great. I said they played their best football of the year. And he got that I wanted to keep Shane Bowen. I didn't say any of the above. That's what you deal with on Twitter. Twitter's a war zone. I swear people can't read. They have a hard time reading. They have a hard time comprehending. I don't know what it is. It's funny and it's sad at the same time that some people are just so brain dead that they really can't read or comprehend. It's actually scary to think that there's adults that can't do that basic stuff. But that's Twitter. That's why Twitter's fun. That's why it's part of the fun for Twitter for me is dealing with that. But no, Shane Bowen did a good job. He's been much more aggressive with his pass rush. We have seen them getting there. Abdul Carter was absolutely insane yesterday, man. Abdul Carter had 8 pressures. 8. He had 5 quarterback hits. Now the man only has a half a sack. Those sacks are coming. That guy is really starting to cook. And you can see it. Brian Burns leads the league in sacks. Kayvon Thibodeau's been really good. And Sexy Dexy had his best game of the year. He had that interception. God, I wanted him to get into the end zone. Whenever the big man is running, you always want the big man to score, man. You always want, and of course, we only ended up with a field goal in that drive. But Dexter played a great game. So I feel like the defense is definitely getting better. I feel like that pass rush is really starting to come into its own. And I feel like, we can get to Spencer Rattler against New Orleans. I do feel like they're going to put a lot of pressure on him without question. I feel like we can you can turn the Saints over. The Giants are starting to get more turnovers now because of the pressure. They forced a couple of interceptions yesterday. And that's the first time. I don't remember the last time they had 2 interceptions in a game. So obviously the defense is playing much better. Jackson Dart did not make a mistake. I mean, he wasn't extraordinary. You're not going to look back at that game and go, wow, he blew you away. But he didn't make a mistake. I feel like the Giants kind of kept it pretty vanilla for him. I don't think they really made it too complex. I feel like they wanted to keep the game in front of him. I think they wanted to get him comfortable, get his feet wet a little bit. They played a lot of safe stuff for him, but he made some plays with his legs. Kid's got to learn how to slide. Cannot sit there and lead with your head. He obviously had to come off the field for a couple plays for concussion protocol. Of course, Russ comes in, illegal formation, immediately gets sacked. He fumbles. And total disaster right away when Russ came in there. But I felt like Dart did a good job. And again, he's not a guy that's always going to run. He'll step up in the pocket and make a throw. And I think that's, good on him without question. So I expect Jackson Dart to get better. I feel like he brought some swag and, they did some good things yesterday offensively. They still got to be better in the red zone. I feel like Mike Kafka's play calling in the red zone is way too predictable. And I feel like that's why they don't get into the end zone. You got to mix up your run and pass. You can't get at the 5-yard line, throw 3 straight passes. At the same time, you can't run the ball 3 straight times. If you get to the 1-yard line, I feel like you should run it 3 straight times from there. But when you're at the 9, like, you don't need to run 3 running plays. Mix it up a little bit, man. Obviously, we don't have Malik Nabers. I don't know where the bubble screens are. I don't know why you don't just get Malik Nabers out in a bubble screen with some lead blockers from the 9-yard line and let him do his thing. Obviously, that can't happen now. Guys are going to have to step up. Jalen Hyatt, man. This is the last opportunity. It's going to be Jalen Hyatt that gets to go. It's going to be him or Bo Collins. But at some point, Jalen Hyatt's got to make an impact. If Jalen Hyatt was on the field for some of those snaps, and again, maybe they called little Jordan Humphrey. Maybe they signed somebody off the free agent wire, guys that are sitting around. Like, I would love Odell Beckham back here, but Odell Beckham made a comment about the turf and how the Giants got to put grass in the field. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if he's saying that about the turf, then he probably doesn't want to come back here. Although I know Beckham really wants to play. So I feel like if the Giants offered him a contract or offered him a year to play, he would come in and do it. But yeah, man, it's good to win. I can tell you that. I'm not drinking the scotch because I gotta be honest, man. I gotta get leaner. I'm at my leanest, I was 161 pounds. I don't want to be that lean, but like I like to be like 164, and I'm up to like 168. That's 4 pounds. Like, I gotta lose those 4 pounds. I can't have those 4 pounds in my body. Like, I gotta be really strict with my diet. No more beer on Sunday. No more scotch, no more nothing. That's Saturday. That's it, man. I gotta really hunker down on this diet again. Because I can't be loose with this anymore. I gotta lose like 4 or 5 pounds. It's gotta happen. It's just gotta happen. It's just me with my OCD. I have to weigh a certain amount, or I'm gonna lose my freaking head. But yeah, man, I'm just glad that they won. It's nice to win a freaking game. It's nice to be sponsored by Sleeper, by the way. If you guys haven't checked out Sleeper, check it out. There's over 10 million people on the Sleeper app. You can get 1,000 times your money by picking over under on stats. Use that promo code Baddog for 100% match deposit. Let's hear from them. 80 seconds back after this. What's going on, guys and gals? Do you think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. With more stats than any daily fantasy app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money if your picks win. There's also a couple of really cool things about the Sleeper app. You can place in-game contests, contest voids for injuries. There's only a $1 minimum entry for users. Updated scoring to track your fantasy players' sleeper picks in real time. Entries can be made within 30 seconds. It's really that easy, and you get safe and fast withdrawals. You can check out my picks for the week right over here. And you guys can do the same thing. Predict the hottest football stats like passing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy football skills. And I got a great promotion for you guys. Just use the promo code BADDOG, that's BADDOG, and Sleeper will match your first deposit all the way up to $100. You definitely want to check out the Sleeper app. There's a lot of fun to be had on that. Test your football knowledge and skill, win some money, and let's go Giants. Let's go Giants indeed. And just so you know, of course, a big shout out to Body Armor Sport Water right there. Get yourselves some Body Armor Sport Water, guys. It's an alkaline water with a pH 9 plus and a proprietary electrolyte formula, the wide mouth for easy hydration. Body Armor Sport Water, built for all-day hydration for the athlete and all that. How about Darren Waller with 2 touchdowns tonight? How about Darren Waller? 2 touchdowns for Darren Waller tonight. How about that? Let's get these likes to 100, by the way. So, obviously, we are going to become very busy on this channel. We have Giants Collective tomorrow. The Yankees postseason begins tomorrow. Now, unfortunately, I have a scheduling conflict because Giants Collective runs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7. The Yankees are playing at 6. There's nothing I can do there. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be doing a Yankee post game on Tuesday. I will call the Yankee game on Wednesday. If there is a game 3 on Thursday, I will do a post game on that. Hopefully the Yankees beat the Red Sox so we can get into the next round, and then they start playing at 8 o'clock and we can do all the games because I want to do all the games. The Lakers preseason begins on Friday. So Laker basketball is also back this week. So I'll be live one fast or another every day this week and going forward. Like I said, man, it's just going to be a lot. Working on another Super Friends stream here coming up in a week, probably not this week, but next week we're looking at doing a Super Friends stream. There's another one scheduled October 14th. So I'm just gonna be really busy. It's always a busy time of year for me. It drains me, but I love it. I love this time of year. I just feel like fall, like the beginning of fall and the beginning of spring are the best. The beginning of spring, you have the NCAA tournament. You have baseball's coming back. The NBA is getting ready to go to the postseason. You have the Masters. There's a lot of fun in the spring. In the fall, of course, you got football, you got the baseball playoffs, and you got basketball starting up again. So the autumn and the autumn and the spring are always really fun times. But again, I'll be really busy going forward. But I enjoy that very much. And of course, I really appreciate all the support you guys and girls give me on this channel. So, Giants win. It's a big win. Queez, thank you. He says, Tyreek just had a career-ending injury. Yeah, that wasn't an ACL. I don't know if it was career-ending, but it was ugly. His knee hyperextended, and I don't know if he had a compound fracture or what it is. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, not pretty at all. Adam, thank you, man. Yeah, I can put that on Twitter. 2 touchdowns for Darren Waller tonight. Take a time, Dale. Of course, Darren Waller comes back. I think he has more touchdowns than he had receptions for us. But that's just the way it goes. Nobody wants to succeed for the Giants ever. You know how that goes. B-Rog, thank you. He says, I thought it was a dream, so I went and watched the game again. And yes, the Giants did win yesterday. I watched all 22, and there are things I didn't like, but I like to win a lot more. Yeah, that was not a bad win. That's not a bad team that they beat. Los Angeles had one of the best defenses in the league. They were 3-0 coming into MetLife Stadium. We definitely had an opportunity to really put them away on Dex's interception. We couldn't do it there. We didn't take the points when we were down in the red zone. We went for it on 4th down. We didn't get the completion there. We missed a lot of tackles again. The Giants really did outplay the Chargers in that game. Pretty much, I thought, every facet. They're really good. I'm really starting to like this defense. They got to tackle, though. The run defense is still really bad. Their tackling is really bad. And you can't, you can blame Bowen for a lot of things. You can't blame Bowen for poor tackling. That's not Shane Bowen's fault. Shane Bowen can't tackle. So when you see Paulson Adebo getting dragged down the field 20 yards by Omarion Hampton, it's just a terrible look. Tyler Nubin taking really bad angles and missing tackles. It's not good. Our secondary has not been good at all. It's been bad, but the front seven's starting to come together. And again, you look at a play here and a play there, and I hate to be that guy that's like, if we did this, because you are what your record says you are. A great coach once said that. We're 1-3, but the Dallas game, and just go back and look at that. Then we should have never lost that game, man. That hurts, because if you beat Dallas, you're 2-2. You know what I mean? And they should have been 2-2. The whole world is different. Now, somebody made a good point. They said the Giants would have beaten Dallas and they were 1-2. They might not have made the change at Jackson Dart. They might not have. So that's a good point. And then you don't know if we beat Los Angeles with Russell Wilson. So I guess you can look at it that way too. But, Kansas City, I feel like they were in that game. If Bobby Okereke just doesn't let Mahomes take the ball away from him, I mean, we have the ball on the 3-yard line. You would think they could score a touchdown from there. And again, the game may be completely different. But, that's the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. You don't know what the hell would have happened had any of those plays happened. But I feel like the Giants have left some points on the field. I feel like the Giants have let some opportunities slip through their fingers. And I feel like if they're going to win, they have to stop doing that. They have to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them. So, when you get turnovers, you got to punch it in for 6. Chris, he says, cancer sucks. It does suck. God bless Mara and all those are with it. This is why, Chris, I have done multiple 24-hour streams for charity for cancer research, just tons because of that. I mean, that's, I will probably never do another 24-hour stream. I'm pretty sure that those are done for me. I probably won't do that again. I did a lot of them though, in my day over the last, 6 years, 7 years. And we raised a lot of money. I mean, it's really cool. I think we raised over $15,000. I mean, I'm not Tom Grossi, but $15,000 for charity is $15,000 for charity. And those were always fun. But what I found out here recently with the last couple that I did, people just didn't seem to be interested in them. And there was really nobody in my chat. So it just was kind of pointless at that point. Either YouTube wasn't sending out the notifications that I was live or people just weren't interested. So I scrapped that. Maybe at some point we'll do ones where I do it for 12 hours, from like 9 to 9 or something and whatever. But the 24-hour streams are done. I won't do another one of those. But we did do a lot of those, and cancer does suck. I mean, everybody knows somebody or, they've lost somebody to cancer, or they know somebody that's, I mean, I've lost multiple relatives to cancer. Multiple. My wife's grandmother, my grandmother, my aunt. I mean, it gets a lot of people, so it sucks. So I wish nothing but the best for John Mara, and John Mara is a tough old bird. I think he'll beat it. Honestly, he's a fighter. He ain't gonna give up. I can tell you that. For all John Mara's faults, one thing I say, he is a tough son of a bitch, and he wants the Giants to win. I don't think there's any question. I don't think he's in there sabotaging the Giants. I think he wants them to lose. He wants them to win. He doesn't go about it very well. He doesn't hire the right people. John Mara's problem is he's too loyal. He's too loyal. That's his major issue. Sox scared the shit out of. Yeah, I don't like the Sox either. I didn't want that, especially with Crochet going game 1. We need a big game from Max Fried, and we need Aaron Judge to play the way he does in the regular season. We need him to stop. We always know Giancarlo is going to show up. We always know Giancarlo is going to show up. He kills the Red Sox, and he's really good in the postseason. He's hot right now. Hopefully Jazz is okay. Jazz took a shot to the arm the other day. Hopefully he's all right. Big East. Kafka uses Theo like Darren Waller in the end. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what the hell we're doing with that. But I wish that we used Waller the way McDaniel uses him. Not McDaniel. What the hell is the freaking? It is McDaniel, right? What the hell is it? Now I'm going to. It is McDaniel. I was losing my mind. Mike McDaniel. I was right. Yeah, we don't. Well, I mean, we did get a touchdown of Theo on that shovel pass. We did. There was one touchdown pass, which was good. We'll take any touchdown passes we can get. Chris, thank you, man. Aberfeldy Scotch, 12 years plus cigar. I'll leave a cigar. I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke the cigars. That's why I always drink the Scotch. My Scotch is definitely Macallan. That is my Scotch of choice. It's right over here. Like I said, I have like 3 wins in this bottle. When I lose the 4 pounds or 5 pounds I need to lose. When we lose those pounds, I always like that it's blue like the Giants, but definitely my Scotch choice is that right there. That is really good Scotch. Now I can't get 21 anymore. Like it's hard to find Macallan. Macallan 21 is my favorite Scotch without question. It's fucking expensive, though. Like, really expensive, which to the point I'm probably not going to buy it again. Years ago, a bottle of Macallan 21 was like $600, which is still pricey, but I could live with $600 for a bottle of scotch. Now it's like $2,000. That's probably not happening. I'd have to hit the damn lottery or come into some money if I'm going to buy Macallan 21. It's not going to happen. But Macallan's definitely my favorite scotch. It's really good scotch. Peter, how much? Well, the Eagles are never trading A.J. Brown within the division. I have to go look at that, though, man. I keep hearing all these rumors about A.J. Brown. I have to go look at it. I don't know what's going on there. And I meant to do it while I was at work. I just got really busy at work today, and I couldn't look it up, but I wanted to. But the Giants, there's no way the Eagles are trading A.J. Brown to the Giants. It would be fun, though, if we got him since they got Saquon. It'd be nice if we got A.J. Brown and he had a huge year. It'd only be right. But, Michael, what's the best outcome of this year? Make the playoffs? Win some games, make the playoffs? Surprise people? Have a winning record? That'd be the best case scenario. It's not going to happen, but that would be the best outcome, especially now without Nabers. I mean, now our offense struggled enough without Malik Nabers. I mean, our wide receiving core was really thin anyway. Now you lost your best player. I don't really know where you go. Who's your number one target now? Is it Slayton? Is it Wan'Dale Robinson? Like, who is it? Yuri, thank you, man. He says, Victory Monday is back. Yes, I would like more Victory Mondays. I would love more Victory Mondays. He says, I think Dart saved Dable's job. Well, I don't think he not yet. I mean, he's got to play really, really well for the rest of the year, I think, if Dable's going to save his job. I think Dable's on the way out, regardless. But if Dart improves and he looks really good and we ended up winning some games here and we end up with 6 or 7 wins and Dart looks like the part, then I think Dable will keep his job. But if they, are 3-14 again or 4-13, I think he's done. Just score a touchdown. Nope, incomplete. Prayers, some Nabers, and Mara. Agreed. I think this team has a juice going to run. Who will step up? Number one. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I have no clue who the number one receiver is going to be. Now that he's gone, I don't. Now that Malik Nabers is gone, I don't know where they go, and that's what sucks. I'm not sure where they're going to go from there. It's rough. Somebody else has to step up now. It's got to be Wan'Dale Robinson. It's got to be the tight end. Like, it's got to be Theo Johnson. It's got to be Darius Slayton. It's got to be Bo Collins, Jalen Hyatt, whoever the hell gets that spot has to step up. Maybe you start using Scatterbo more in the passing game. You start getting your running backs involved in the pass game a little more. I'd like to see them call up Turbo Miller from the practice squad, get him in there, but I don't know, man. But I am definitely love Scatterbo. I think that he is definitely a fan favorite. I think the fans love him. That guy just wants to hit something. He's a football player. He just is. Some guys just have that. So Scatterbo's that guy. He likes to deliver punishment to the defenders. Those type of things wear down defenders in the fourth quarter. That's what you want. You want those big guys up front to create holes. I feel like the Giants' offensive line was pretty good yesterday. I know Dart took 6 sacks, but I feel like a lot of that was him hanging onto the football. Outside of the one blitz where the Giants missed picking it up and he got absolutely demolished, I feel like it was mostly Jackson Dart just hesitant to throw the football, which I don't like to see. I want Jackson Dart to just see something and throw it. And if you turn it over, you turn it over. But I don't like that hesitation. You also see Daniel Jones did not play terrible, but he showed you why Giants fans had enough of him here. A couple of really bad interceptions that he underthrew were not good passes. Back foot, fade away, to end the game. I know they were trying to go down and score, but he had plenty of time. It was not a good throw. Now, he did have a touchdown taken away from him by A.D. Mitchell, who decided to celebrate on the half-yard line, and he fumbled the football. That's stupid. I don't know why players do that. Why would you celebrate before you get into the end zone? Get into the end zone and celebrate. The NFL doesn't say you have a limit on how long you can celebrate. Take one more step of the football. That dude cost the Colts the game yesterday. Mitchell cost the Colts the game because he fumbled the ball out of the end zone. It was a touchback. They lost by a touchdown. It was a touchdown. They never got that ball back. Chris says, McCown 15 here, cracked with Yankee. Yeah, let's go, baby. McCown 15. McCown's the best scotch, in my opinion. I like Macallan, I like Glenfiddich, and I like Chevis. Those are my favorite scotches. But Macallan's definitely my favorite. Macallan is Macallan 21 is good, but like I said, it's hard to find it, and it's really, really expensive now. Macallan 21 is how much? I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even know if you can find it anymore. Yeah, that one's $2,000. That one's $1,175. But again, there's nothing around here for me. That one's $1,900. It's expensive. It's expensive stuff. That one's $2,100, $2,000, $2,300, $3,000 for the fine oak. It's expensive, man. I can't afford that. I can't afford no $2,000 for a bottle of scotch. The best stuff I can do right there is that $903, which I don't know how that's only $903, but I get another bottle of 18 year. 21 years is so much better than 18 years. It's amazing how those 3 years make that big of a difference. It's amazing the difference between 18 year and 21 year scotch. It's incredible. It's really good. Again, I don't really drink it that much. I would drink it because Philly 500 had the the victory cigar, and usually cigars and scotch go together. I'm not a smoker, so I figured I would just do the scotch thing, but we'll get back to it eventually. But I was hoping I was going to need a new bottle of it. I don't think I'm going to need a new bottle of it. I'll stick to my zero sugar soda. But as far as the Giants go, man, they should be able to beat the Saints. The Saints are not a good team. They're 0-4. If the Giants get to 2-3, if you would have looked at the beginning of the year and said you're going to be 2-3 after the first 5 games, I think Giants fans probably could live with it. The problem is after the Saints, like I said, it's tough. I mean, you have 2 out of 3 weeks against Philadelphia. One's on a short week. Then you fly into Denver. That's a really tough place to play. Denver's destroying Cincinnati. Cincinnati's done. I really think that the Giants should trade Russell Wilson to Cincinnati. I mean, I don't know if Cincinnati would want Russ, but you don't have a lot of draft capital. If you get a 6th-round pick for Russ, send him out there. Russ ain't coming back. Russ ain't starting again. You signed Russ from the be a bridge quarterback. Bridge is over. They're over the bridge now. And you kept Jameis here for 2 years to be the backup to Dart. So Russ's job's done here now. So send him to somewhere. Send him somewhere. Kella, thank you, man. Is the Giants favorites for the first time? Yes, I was going to say they are favored by 2.5. I saw that today. And I'm like, wow, the Giants are actually favored. I don't know that they'll be favored in another game this year. Maybe against the Patriots, maybe. But I don't think they're going to be favored in another game this year. I think that's the only game they're going to be favored in. And they're a road favorite to boot. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I can't see the Giants being favored again. God, it just sucks, man. If we were to beat Dallas, we'd be 2-2. They would be 0-3-1 right now. Washington's 2-2. So it's not like the Eagles, obviously, nobody's catching the Eagles, but the rest of this division is now, obviously, Washington don't have their quarterback, and that hurt them. The Raiders are really bad, so it didn't matter. But although it wasn't really the offense had 27 points in that game. Their defense just got torched by Michael Penix, who I love Michael Penix. Blake says, more likely 13 becomes useful or Giant. Well, more likely is the Giants go out and get the old number 13 and he becomes useful. Yeah, I've had high hopes for Jalen Hyde for years, and I was really hopeful he would be good this year, but he just has not shown the ability to do it, and I don't think he's going to be useful at all. I think the Giants are going to add a wide receiver, whether it's calling him up from the practice squad like little Jordan Humphrey or Juice Wells or whoever they want to do, or signing a guy off the scrap heap. But I don't think that it's going to be Jalen Hyatt, unfortunately. Jason says, Dart is the man, and Dart we trust. I was impressed. I thought Dart did a good job. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say he's, the next Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. I think that he's got what it takes to win. I think he's got a winning mentality. I think he has the right attitude. I think he's a smart quarterback. And as long as he takes care of the football, you can win games. We are not nearly as talented as the Philadelphia Eagles, but you take a look at them. They, won yesterday again, and Jalen Hurts threw for 130 yards. There's two games. Against the Chiefs, he threw for 101, and yesterday he threw for 130 against Tampa Bay. They won both games. I don't even know Jalen Hurts has thrown for more than 220 yards this year in any game. I'm going to look at that because Jalen Hurts ain't throwing for anything. Jalen Hurts is just doing nothing. He threw for 226 against the Rams. And most of that was in the second half. Most of that was in the second half. They were getting killed in that first half, and he did all that in the second half. But Jalen Hurts this year, he didn't have any touch. He had no passing touchdowns the first two games of the year. Now he's got 5 in the last 2. But his passing yards, 152 against Dallas, 101 against Philadelphia, and 130 against Tampa Bay. He's thrown for 609 yards in 4 games. Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards in 1 game. But the Eagles are 4-0. So what that shows you is, as long as you take care of the football and you don't do anything stupid and you make the plays you have to make, you can win football games. That's what Jalen Hurts does. Jalen Hurts makes plays when he has to, and Jalen Hurts doesn't make mistakes. And that's why they win football games. You don't need to be an elite quarterback. You can be average with a really good team and not lose it. And when you need to win it, win it. He doesn't need to be the man all the time. When he needs to be the man, he is. That's why they win the way they do. That's why they won 19 or last 20. Whatever the hell that stupid stat. I mean, they haven't lost in forever. We're the complete opposite. Massey, my friend from down under. Appreciate you watching as always. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. He says, Saints suck. Expecting, yes. We are a favorite. I actually do expect them to beat the Saints. I do expect them to beat the Saints. That doesn't mean we will, but I do expect them. Massey says, your vid was so good after a win. It's nice. Haven't seen you happy in a while. I haven't been. It was nice to win. I was in disbelief. I was still in disbelief after we won that game because I just kept expecting us to lose. I just kept expecting the other shoe to drop. I kept expecting something to happen. I just kept expecting we're not going to win because that's what happens. We left so many points in the field. We made a couple really bad blunders on defense. I mean, for the most part, we were dominant, but they made a couple of really bad plays. A deep pass to Quentin Johnston before the half. And, of course, the 54-yard run by Hampton, which we can't tackle. Those type of things. And I'm like, of course, that's going to come back to haunt us. It didn't. It was nice to win, man. Is Dart running and smashing it? No, he's got to slide. He's got a slider. Remember when he was talking to John Gruden? And John Gruden said, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of bounds. He kept telling him, get out of bounds. You got to get down. You can't do that in the NFL. He keeps running into defenders. He's going to end up hurt. And I get it. He's a kid. It's his first start. He's amped up. He wants to win. He's going to do everything in his power to win. I understand. But you got to be smart about it. You can't do that. You will not last in this league if you're sitting there trying to run over a linebacker. You're not going to make your living as a quarterback running into defensive linemen. That's in defensive, linebackers. You're not going to run. You're not going to make a living as a quarterback running into defenders. Let Cam Scatterbo do that. That's Scatterbo's job. Let Scat run into the linebacker. Let Scat bull them over. Let him do that. You don't need to do that if you're Jackson Dart. My guy, Super Anthony, thank you. He says, a little before my time, but Dart's attitude and approach reminds me a bit of Jim McMahon. Kind of, yeah, I can see that. The punky QB, got a little mox to him, got a little cockiness to him. I think that my co-host on, to bring up a more modern guy, Anthony, my co-host Anthony on Giants Collective, I thought had a good comparison. Baker Mayfield. Jackson Dart has a little Baker Mayfield in him. Baker Mayfield, obviously, I'm a Sooner fan. I loved Baker when he played for Oklahoma. I loved his moxie. I loved his attitude. I love the fact he don't back down from shit. He's a gamer. He's tough. He also tries to run into linebackers, which I don't like. But he'll get up. He'll talk a shit. He will give you everything he has every game, and he ain't backing down from a fight. And Baker's always been a winner. And that's what I love about him. He's not the most talented guy. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. But he's got a lot of talent in that arm, and he's a winner. And he just fights. He's a fighter. And I think you want your quarterback to be a fighter. And I think Jackson Dart has that about him. If Jackson Dart is as good as Baker Mayfield is, we'll be very happy as Giants fans. And I think it's a good comparison. I think Anthony made a good comparison there. Kevin, he says, wide receiver 4 on the Chargers is Trey Harris, former Ole Miss teammate of Dart and former high school teammate of Nabers. Chemistry and trust is there and make the trade. Yeah, again, I think if the Giants can give up a really late round pick for a guy like that, maybe you do something like that if it's a 6th or a 7th round pick and you don't have to give up too much. But we don't have a 2nd round pick, so I don't know how much Joe Shane wants to give up draft capital for a wide receiver when, again, you're 1-3. I think if we were 3-1, maybe a different story. Even if we were 2-2, I think you might be able to get on board with that. But 1-3, and the Eagles are 4-0. I think if the Eagles were 2-2, like Washington, and they didn't really look good, I think the Eagles are starting to hit their stride now. They've looked better the last 2 weeks. I just feel like if the Eagles were not as good as they are, maybe you take a shot. Maybe he does anyway. Maybe he feels like his job's on the line. It'll be interesting to see how they approach it, but I don't think they're going to make a move before the Saints game. Maybe they see how the Saints game plays out. If they win that, then they look to make a move before the trade deadline. But yeah, maybe a guy like Trey Harris ain't going to cost you much. Maybe that's the type of guy you go after. I don't know. We're going to need somebody to step up, though, regardless of if they go out and get a guy or they sign a guy from the practice squad, whatever the hell they do, somebody's got to step up. You're not going to fill Malik Nabers' shoes, but if everybody can step their game up and contribute, you might not miss him as much. But you're not going to have the dynamic playmaker that Malik Nabers is. Nobody's replacing that. Chislo, thank you, man. How much better if our defense could tackle, dude, they'd be one of the best defenses in the league. It's funny because right now they're, I think, like in total yards, the Giants are ranked 30th. They're 3rd worst in the league. Now, they were worst in the league after the first 2 games. They still might be the worst rush defense in the league, but a lot of that does have to do with poor tackling. They got to tackle. I think if they tackled, they might be in the middle of the pack. They have 10 sacks. They didn't get many the first 2 games. They're definitely starting to get there now. My hot take for the year started was the Giants are going to lead the league in sacks. I had a lot of hot takes that really aren't looking too good. I said Slayton was going to get 1,000 yards. He has a chance now that Nabers is hurt, but I didn't think Nabers was going to get hurt. I still said he was going to have 1,000 yards. I thought the Giants could lead the league in sacks. And I said they were finishing out of the Cowboys in the division. Because honestly, the Cowboys should be 0-4. A tie game sucks. That was a really good game last night. That game was really good. And it ended up being a tie. And I don't think you should be able to tie in the NFL. Man, I think you should have to play as a winner. Inherit the college rules where each team gets a ball at the 25-yard line and you just keep going till one team scores and one team doesn't. That's it. Do that. College football has a right. Shouldn't be a ties in the NFL. A tie sucks. You play 70 minutes of football for no result. I don't like that. Chris says, who is our next head coach or offensive coordinator? Can't be Dable. I don't know. I like Cliff Kingsbury myself. A lot of guys are talking about Lane Kiffin because obviously he's Jackson Dart's coach at Ole Miss. I don't know. I know how the Giants would do it. I don't know if they would, I would prefer a guy that has head coaching experience in the NFL. And Kingsbury did, and people like he didn't do good in Arizona. Well, Kingsbury won 11 games in Arizona. When's the last time Arizona won 11 games? Kingsbury won 11 games there. And they went to the playoffs. Arizona doesn't normally go to the playoffs. So, and then he kind of fell out of favor. I mean, Kyler Murray got hurt. You weren't going to win a lot of games if Kyler Murray gets hurt. But you take a look at it. If anybody's really good with quarterbacks, it's Cliff Kingsbury. Look at what he's doing with Jaden Daniels in Washington. Look what he did with Kyler Murray at Oklahoma. Look what he did with Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma. Look what he did with Caleb Williams at Oklahoma and then USC. So if anybody knows how to develop a quarterback, it's Cliff Kingsbury. So if you're going to have a young quarterback like Jackson Dart, a guy like Cliff Kingsbury would be a good head coach for him, in my opinion. And you take him away from Washington. You're getting somebody within the division that's going to know the plays that Washington wants to run. They're going to know Jaden Daniels' strengths and weaknesses better than anybody else. So I like Kingsbury, but there's a lot of other guys. If you want a defensive guy, it's not going to be Kingsbury. And if you want a guy that's been like an established head coach, it's not going to be him either. Blake says Coffey's got to find ways to get Wandale in space. I agree, especially without Nabers now. They're definitely going to have to get Wandale in space one way or the other. They're going to get a lot of these guys in space. Wandale didn't have many targets, but again, I don't feel like Jackson Dart really opened. I don't really feel like they opened up the playbook for Dart. I don't feel like they did. I would like it because Wandale's on my fantasy team, and it would be nice to get some fantasy points. Jalen Waddle's also on my fantasy team. I mean, I'm about to be 4-0 in this fantasy league, and now Waddle should be the number one starter for the rest of the year, and Wandale should be one of the bigger starters for the year for the Giants. And all the number one receivers are gone. That doesn't mean it'll happen that way, but you would think they could do it. So that's good. Yeah, Giants. Yeah, I saw that the Giants have 10 sacks. There's a bunch of teams at 10. There's a few teams at 14. I think the Saints had 11. Raphael says I like Cliff Kingsbury. Some guys definitely are not for Kingsbury, and I mean, I get it. It's just my preference. I feel like he'd be really good with a young quarterback. Because, like I said, he's developed a lot of quarterbacks that ended up being really good. So I feel like he'd be good for Jackson Dart. If Dable's not around, which I don't think Dable will be around at the end of the year. Blake, thank you again. He says they also need to rotate. Well, I mean, they don't have 3 running backs because Tyron Tracy separated his shoulder. He's out 2 to 4 weeks, and they don't bring up Turbo Miller, so they're just riding with Scat and Singletary. I feel like they should bring Turbo up, but they don't feel like doing it, I guess. So they're just riding with 2 running backs. I don't know that Scat takes a beating. I think Scattaboo gives a beating. I think Scattaboo wants to hurt people when he runs. He runs pissed off. How do I like Blake Mateer? I like Blake Mateer, but not Blake Mateer. I like John Mateer, but John Mateer's hurt now. Got a hand problem. He needs surgery, so it's going to be tough. The Auburn-Oklahoma game, I mean, one thing I'll say about Oklahoma, we couldn't say this a few years ago until recently. Now, you knew Venables eventually would turn it around because Oklahoma was really good when they were going to the Rose Bowl, and Kingsbury was their head coach. Or maybe Stoops was there at the time, but Venables was their defensive coordinator, and Venables was always a defensive guy. I can't remember Venables was there when I know Alex Grinch was there at some point. I forgot when he left, when Venables left Oklahoma. I know he was there with Stoops. I don't remember how long he stayed though. But 10 sacks was a school record, and Oklahoma's got a good defense now, really good defense, which you need if you're going to play in the SEC. You need a defense. You're going to play in the SEC. Then Oklahoma's got one. But they have the gauntlet. Now, they have Kent State this week. They'll roll over Kent State. But then, I forgot exactly how it goes. They have Texas. They have South Carolina. They have Ole Miss. And I think LSU. I'm going to look at that. They have a really, like the Giants have that coming up. Yeah. So they have Kent State. Then they have Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU. After South Carolina, Oklahoma finishes with 5 ranked teams. That Ole Miss Oklahoma game is going to be great. So they play 3 top 10 teams. So they have a warm up here against Kent State on October 4th. But then, man, they're in it. They're in it. They're in the shit after that, boy. You don't get any easier. Michael, thank you, man. Get Bumper Pool, and we're back. I wonder whatever happened to Bumper Pool. One of the best names out there, Bumper Pool. Jason, thank you, man. I'm not ready to get rid of Dable since hearing our GM and owner didn't want Dart. Dart needs a coach that believes in him. I don't know that they preferred somebody else. But yeah, Dart's Dable's guy. There's no question about it. There's no doubt about it. That's the guy he wanted. You heard Shane say you got your guy. You guys want him. That's your guy. So I don't know about the owner because Shane didn't want him. But, Shane believed in Brian Dable enough to go out and pick him. So, yeah. We'll see. I wasn't ready to get rid of Dable either, but now I am. I just think Brian Dable's kind of worn out his welcome. Chris, thank you. And he says the Dable's the kind of guy who dates his friend's exes. Dable's got a little, I don't know what the hell is going on. It's weird. Dable's relationship with Dart's a little strange. It's a little strange to say the least. It's pretty crazy, man. I don't know. Boy, I'm tell you what, man. I'm looking forward to the Yankees tomorrow, man. I really wish I could push the Giants Collective back, but I can't because they also play on Thursday, and I'm like, I can't miss these shows, So what I got to do, I'm going to start watching it. I'm going to record it. I'm going to do the Giants Collective show. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to watch the Yankee game and come back and do a post game. So the nights I do Giants Collective, we're going to do Yankee post game videos like this. It'll be like a half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever. And Wednesday, I'll do the Yankees Red Sox game too. Hopefully the Yankees close it out there. And like I said, move on to the next round where they play at 8:00, and then I can cover the games. And I'm sure I'll cover some National League games too. I love calling baseball games. Obviously not a lot of people are interested in baseball. I don't get very big crowds for but I don't care. I love calling baseball games. I love it. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. Blake, thank you again, man. Oklahoma Auburn was the loudest stadium I've ever been to. Oklahoma defense is the best in the country. Yeah, it was crazy. And it's funny that they got a backdoor cover on a safety at the end of that game. So it is funny. how they had a backdoor cover in that game. But yeah, 10 sacks, crazy. That is a bucket list item for me. I really want to get to the stadium in Norman, Oklahoma before I die. I have to get there. I have to. I have to get there at some point. You also want Boone gone. I still want Boone gone. I don't think Boone's a good manager. I do look at how good they're doing. They won 11 out of their last 13 games. They won 8 in a row to finish the year against really bad competition. And you can watch any video that I do when I criticize the Yankees, every one of them. I will sit here and tell you the Yankees will bash their way to 92 to 96 wins a year. And then when they get into the postseason, they have to face real pitching. They struggle. You can beat the shit out of the Orioles. You can beat the shit out of the White Sox. The Red Sox are not either one of those teams. The Yankees did not play well against good teams this year. They didn't. Red Sox kicked their ass most of the year. Toronto beat us. That's why they won the division, because they won the tiebreaker. So show me. Yankees can't make mistakes. No stupid errors. Got to get guys on third base, less than 2 outs. Got to get them in. Got to play correct fundamental baseball. Your starters need to give you length because our bullpen isn't very good. I still don't think Boone's a good manager. The Yankees just outslug everybody. That's what they do. They play bully ball. That's what the Yankees are. That's what they've always been, except for when they were winning their championships. They still hit the ball out of the park, but they also scored runs in other ways. They weren't so one-dimensional. Now, there's a lot of talent on the Yankees, but they got to play good baseball. And they got to find other ways to score besides hitting home runs. They can hit a home run better than anybody else. I think they had 8 guys with 20 homers this year, and Volpe had 19. So tons of Stanton played half a year and hit 25 or 24 home runs. Bellinger almost hit 30 homers. Jazz was 30-30 this year. Judge is God. Judge needs to play like Judge in the postseason. Jason, thank you. You need to go to an Army-Navy game? I bet that'd be fun. That'd probably be fun. We do have to beat New Orleans. We can't lose to them. I agree. We got to beat New Orleans. Get to 2-3, and then Jackson Dart's in for a rude awakening against that Eagles defense. That defense is no joke. We're going to beat the Eagles. We have the forced turnovers. We have to stop Saquon. We have to get some breaks, and we got to get lucky. I mean, they're just Philadelphia's way better than us. It's not close. Lambeau, yeah, I bet that's an awesome place to see a game. There's a lot of places I want to go before I die. That's why I'm just waiting to get to retirement. When I'm old enough to retire, my kid will be an adult. You know, he'll be able to do his own thing at that point, or he'll be able to go with me, and I don't have to worry about working a full-time job like I do now. I can just do my own thing. It'll be nice to say, all right, I want to go to Oklahoma. I can tell you one thing I definitely want to do, and I have to do it soon. I want to go to that stadium in Pittsburgh. I don't care if the Pirates are playing the Yankees or not. I want to go to PNC Park. It just looks gorgeous. It's gorgeous. With that said, guys, girls, are going to get out of here. I always appreciate you tuning in to the video. I'm glad that we were able to do a victory lap today. Didn't have to scream about shit. Hopefully we're back here again next Monday with another victory. That would be great. Again, I'll be live for the Yankees post-game tomorrow after Giants Collective. We'll stream the Yankees on Wednesday, and hopefully series is over at that time. So enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the football games. We'll see you next time. Bad Diggity Dizzle, and I'm out. Peace.